Hey Vegas, thanks for joining us back here at Vegas RealtyCheck, your local Las Vegas real estate news show. And I'm Trish Williams.
And I'm Tiana Carroll. Welcome back, Vegas. What's up?
Yes. So, did you have any news this week? Because I scanned every source and seen nothing that was
that hasn't
worthy
been
of talking about.
Yeah. It was really, really slow. The only thing that I saw was everybody's talking about, they're going to be dropping interest rates and 2024 is going to be a crazy housing market year.
Yeah.
And that's sort of stuff that we've been hearing and talking about.
That's the narrative that's been circling around.
Totally.
Though we have this narrative circling around about rates dropping, and we are all ready for it and anticipating that. But yesterday, we had the highest rate increase in the last month.
Right. And all week long, it's like, rates are dropping. Just kidding. They're going up.
So, it didn't happen yesterday. But
no, yesterday was not the rate drop day.
Yeah, but, those things, like the stock market, will fluctuate daily. So don't let it, panic you or anything like that. We'll just keep watching and keep reporting as far as that goes. I did, not really in news this week, but it was just a survey. What are they called? Surveys, where they just talk to a lot of people or whatever.
Yep.
And one of the highest stress points, it came in as number 3, as the highest stress point for families is housing affordability.
I get that. And it's so weird because you and I grew up in the Valley. Mm-hmm. So we've been here when there was homes at the edge of town on Rainbow that were
my grandparents lived there. It felt like I was leaving town.
It felt like you were leaving town, but your grandparents probably got it for
50,000.
Oh, okay, 50 grand. I was going to say 28 grand.
Yeah, they sold it for $850 in the early 2000s.
Yeah, do you remember when they converted Bella Vita from apartments into condos or something?
Yes, your sister. That's what she bought. She bought when they turned from apartments into condos.
But didn't she pay 18 grand for that thing or something?
No, that was its value at the time of the whole foreclosure crash, everything. So she paid $185 for it.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the market crashed, and then the value was down to under 20,000.
Yeah. I remember seeing signs for Bella Vita. It's 18 grand for a townhome or a condo, and I'm wish I bought the whole complex.
Yeah. Well, I at the same time I had bought, and I thought it was an amazing deal. I bought a townhouse. It was 2000, I want to say 2005 I got it, and I got it as a foreclosure.
Okay.
And it was $100,000, and I was wow, I get a 3-bedroom townhouse with a garage for $100,000. This is amazing. I could never get a better deal than this. And then the crash happened, and it was worth $20,000, and I was driving I think a Ford Escape or something. I don't know at the time. But my car was worth more than my townhouse was. And I was this really sucks.
That's all the doomsday preppers are let that happen again. And then we can buy all these amazing properties so inexpensively.
Yeah.
You got to keep a little nest egg to the side in case that does happen. But I don't see that, not with our numbers.
But the thing though that the biggest amount of advice I could tell people out there is when everything crashed, everybody, and people were even telling me ditch it, drop it, short sell, do whatever,
right.
Get out from under it. Yeah, it's not worth what you're paying. And I was it just doesn't make sense. The payment's still low or whatever. I stuck it out.
Yeah.
You've got to, if there were, I don't think we'll ever see a crash like that again. I'm just being completely honest.
We stuck it out too. We stuck it out, and now the house is obviously
worth
recovered.
A lot more. Yeah. So if anything, just like in the stock market, you never sell when it's low. You sell, you wait for the value to return, and you got to kind of ride that road. I don't think it would ever go to zero. I mean, maybe something could really bad happen.
In a post-apocalyptic world, they divvy up all the properties. They're free. You get this corner, you get this corner, you get this corner.
Right. But stick it out. You got to ride that wave through, because I did that with my townhouse, which, at one point had gone down to 20,000, and then just rode it through. And by the time that we sold, I was able to make profit out of the equity because it had all come back around. Just had to stick it out for a few more years.
Yep.
So
we did the same thing with one of them.
Yeah, and that was all before I was even in real estate. That was like my first home. I was young, younger. But you know, I didn't even know anything about real estate at that point in time because I didn't get into real estate till 2014.
Girl, you were made for real estate. It must be in your blood. You were making good decisions even back then.
Yeah. So I guess that's what inspired me.
You're like, yep, that's it.
No, but true story. What did inspire me to get into real estate is my realtor at the time was
terrible. Terrible.
Wow. And the funny thing is, after I got into real estate, he, you know, like what, you know how it goes. Like you get like certain production numbers, then all these like brokers reach out to you trying to recruit you, right?
Yep.
So I met with this guy and he's trying to recruit me. And I'm like, you don't know that you know me? I'm like, you sold me my first house. And you're, what the? I'm insulted.
You're like, not only am I insulted, but I didn't even like you as a realtor.
Well, you know, I mean, everybody has their own thing. You know, I mean, he wasn't like, whatever, just not my cup of tea. But
it happens.
But he was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that is pretty absurd. Like you're saying you're trying to like, you know, now you're trying to woo me and you don't remember you sold me my first home when I was just a little single mom and didn't know anything about any of this. And yeah, so,
well,
you know.
All in all, you got the house, so it's good. And you did not move companies, so.
I've never moved companies. No.
You were one loyal mama.
I think I found my home where I'm at. So I would be very shocked if I would ever come to a decision to leave.
Yeah, you're really good at knowing exactly what you like and sticking with it.
Yeah. So, you know, another thing, I guess you could call it news, since we're talking about crashes and all that stuff
we ended up in a crash anyway.
Yeah. So there's, you know, one of the things that we've seen with rates coming so high over the last year is the adjustable rates came back.
Yeah. Was it? Oh man, I don't have the note with me. But Lennar yesterday sent out a email saying that is it Lennar that's doing their own financing now?
Oh,
and
I don't know. I didn't get the email.
They're doing an adjustable rate, and they're doing $399 for your first year, $499 for your second.
4.99. Okay.
Oh yeah, 4.99, and then I think then it's like the rest of it is like 5.25.
Right. So Toll Brothers is doing something the same. That's not quite an adjustable rate. That is a 2-1 buy down.
That's a 2-1 buy down, but they're calling it.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's kind of
rate.
an adjustable rate, but a little bit different than the structure of an adjustable rate. Well,
those were a nightmare back
then. Because they really, I don't think they had a ceiling. Like they just kept on raising.
No, there was times in the market crash, that whole 2008 whatever, when we had an adjustable rate, and for sometimes our mortgage payment be like $1,350, and then other times for a year and a half it'd be like $1,800. It got up to $2,400. That's substantial when you're almost doubling your mortgage payments. Yeah, adjustable rates are tough.
Yeah, my husband was in one before we got married, and his had gotten up to like 9.5% at one point. You know, so yeah, they were getting pretty steep, and that's why a lot of people like had to foreclose because it was just the payments were getting
adjustable
unaffordable.
arms were a nightmare.
Yeah, so I do follow Dave Ramsey. He's a financial advisor, guru, whatever you want to call him, and Dave Ramsey has put out a warning.
Oh boy.
Just warning people, be very cautious with these adjustable rate mortgages, that are out there. So I think as rates start coming down, those are going to go away again. But, that is.
Yeah, well, they're trying to do things just to get people in homes right now, trying to make it as affordable as possible for people. And, and it was the Lennar, and the final was 5.625% for the remainder of the terms.
Okay. Well, that is at least, so that's what we call a ceiling. Okay, so
Right.
at least it says, it's not saying this can keep on adjusting. It's saying that it will adjust until you have this ceiling,
And
and
then
that's the highest rate. So when you're looking at that, you need to look at that ceiling rate of where it's going to adjust and make sure that there is one.
Right.
Make sure that it has like a final, this is the highest your rate will get. And make sure that you can afford that worst case scenario before you sign an agreement to do that.
Totally.
Because if that number scares you and that number makes you uncomfortable, then maybe this isn't the right choice for you.
Yeah. And you know what? When it comes to loans, there's so many different products out there. You have options. So, much like working with a realtor who can navigate the actual contract and transaction with you, your lender is such a key portion, obviously, of buying the house. And you need to make sure that you are getting a lender who is giving you the best package for your purchase.
Right. And if you have a lender or you're talking to a lender that is not willing to go over scenarios with you and options, you're
Wrong
probably
lender.
you're probably not talking to the right person.
Yeah,
because there
no.
are people out there that will walk you through those scenarios and give you some options of what's going to work best for you. And I've even spoken to the ones that they're like, oh, this is what we have, take it or leave it. And I'm like, I no.
You're like, I'm going to go ahead and leave that right there. It's all
We'll leave
yours.
it right there.
Yeah,
Like
enjoy.
if they can't take the time to talk to you, you're probably not talking to the right person. So keep that in mind too.
Yeah. Hey, you know what we didn't do?
We didn't do numbers.
We just skipped right over it. We're like, forget it. There's no news. We're just talking about whatever we want to talk about now.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, let's circle back to do some numbers. All right.
So single family residences, what do we got on the market?
We have 3,566 of them.
Still under 4,000, guys. And
Still
the
under 4,000.
market is picking up. So that inventory I'm concerned about.
Yeah, well, if we're going back to the news that says all the interest rates are dropping, every conversation I'm having is like, oh, we're just going to wait for the interest rate to drop a little. Well, with that interest rate comes competition. So then do you now have cash over appraised value to get into a house if we get into a bidding war again?
Yeah, I was speaking to an appraiser yesterday, and he was saying with the increased activity that we're starting to see coming up, what are we going to do about inventory? And I'm like, well, I guess we just hit that road when we come and we're going to have to navigate through it. But that is a concern. With more activity, more buyers coming off the fence and ready to buy, we're still seeing really low inventory numbers. So that's going to be that's going to be something to keep an eye on this year.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's going to be a contributing factor to how this market goes because worst case scenario, if we get down to 2,000 homes again, then affordability is going to be off the table for most people because it's going to be cash. If you can come over appraised value, if you can do whatever you need to do to get into that house, then you're going to be the winner.
And then there we go into that third largest stress factor for people in the United States is housing affordability.
Right.
So it's just something to really be mindful of and watch throughout the year. Sold numbers. How many homes did we sell last week?
Last week was kind of slow, 252.
It is.
That's a little slow if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but we're still second week of January. We're talking December closings that went into escrow. I think those numbers are going to get bigger as we hit towards end of January.
Well, even the end of February, beginning of March, you're going to see stuff happening.
All the stuff from beginning of January will start closing
all
in
of
those
this
numbers.
Stuff that we've picked up now 30, 45 days later will be really what we're reporting. Price decreases, how many do we have?
344, so kind of high.
No,
I mean, not really as high
high
as we've seen it, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, if we get under like 400 price decreases, that's a low amount of price decreases happening. And I don't know if it's like about 10% of what our active single family homes are that are being reduced. But when I went back and I looked at numbers this time last year, third week of January, there was I think close to 700 price reductions.
Yeah, we've seen like 1,300, 1,500. We've had some really high numbers. Yeah. So.
But the inventory also reflects that as well. So 344 price decreases. Now you started.
That's like 10% of the single family inventory. So
yeah. Now you started a few weeks ago tracking the under contracts.
Yes.
So this number are both the show and no show.
That looks like a healthy number at 520.
It looks good, right?
520 homes under contract this week. So that's great. That's a healthy number. And I think that that's going to be an indicator of stronger sales numbers come the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too.
Yeah.
So the numbers haven't made big changes.
No.
So that's okay. But I'd rather sort of slow and steady right now until the world figures out what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Nothing too shocking. After 20, 21, 22, 23, it was such a roller coaster ride through everything.
So does it really feel like it's been 4 years since COVID happened? I still feel like it's yesterday. Like we're still talking about it every day. Like,
yeah.
I just feel, let's move on. Let's go.
Well, you wanted to put that to bed back in 2020. You're like, are we done with COVID?
Can we be done with it?
We're
Can
like,
we
no,
stop talking about it? No.
Yeah, well, the pandemic really did change everything. It's always going to be something. Just like we, referenced the crash, we're always going to reference this pandemic or COVID or whatever nickname you're giving it.
So maybe COVID was like the big thing, like the crash was the big thing of
Right.
that era, decade,
Right,
or
that's
whatever.
what I'm saying.
So, yeah.
It's always going to be a reference in time,
Yeah.
like
I don't like it.
it's sticking around, girl. We're always going to reference in time. You're going to have to hear COVID forever.
It's a 4-letter word. It's a 4-letter word.
It is only in your mind.
Yes.
It's a 5-letter word.
I'm like, wait, yeah, you're right. It's 5. Okay, but my 4-letter word.
It's what she's like, I'm omitting the I, and it's a 4-letter word.
Yes. So we have some listener questions.
Yeah, so we're doing this year, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Listeners, go ahead and send us their questions. If you want your questions read on air and answered, then you can go ahead and email us at vegasrealtycheck@gmail.com, and we'll get your questions on. But today we have 3 new questions.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's start with Diane.
Okay. Wait, I got to pull up the questions.
Okay. I'll start reading while you're
okay,
pulling
you
them up.
start.
So Diane purchased a home 3 months ago. Okay. The water heater went out. It cost me $2,100 to replace it. When I had the home inspection, they said everything was working and did not say anything about the water heater being broken. Can the home inspector or the previous owner reimburse me? So, Diane,
I'm just going to smile.
No,
just smile and wave.
It's a good question. It is a good question because, the reason why you have a home inspection is because you want to make sure that everything's working.
Well, it's just a snapshot.
It is a snapshot in
of
time.
The property, right. It's a snapshot of the condition of the property at time of purchase.
Yes.
But like anything else, here today, gone tomorrow, it's works one day, broken the next. That has nothing to do with the home inspection or even the previous owner.
Yeah, like you, unfortunately, you can never guarantee when something goes out. And in water heaters in particular, sometimes if a home's vacant for a while, everything like kind of builds up at the bottom.
The sediment.
Yeah, and then when you when the home inspector's there, they could be running things that works fine, but once like water starts continuing to fill up in there and it gets like caught in that sediment buildup and all that stuff, it can create a problem later that no one would have known at the time of the inspection.
Right.
Because that sediment will play into the factor once all the water starts running, and then you have all of from the pipes being empty for a while, and then like when they start, all the water starts going through, it pushes more sediment out. I mean, there's things that can build up over time. That happens. I've heard that probably explained a lot better than I just explained it.
Well, I've had sediment affect the heater core, and the heater cores had to be replaced. And sometimes it's just repair, not really a water heater replacement.
Yes.
But things happen. I could go home today, knock on. Well, we don't even have wood in there. Knock on wood, that I could go home today and something could be broken at my house or your house or any house.
Yeah,
it just
you never
happens.
know. Yeah.
Don't be at my house, please.
I wish we could guarantee that, but no. Yeah, again, home inspection is a snapshot in time. So home inspector responsible 3 months later, no, that's probably not a factor.
Yeah.
And previous owner, again, 3 months have passed, you've been using the home, and that's something that previous homeowner isn't going to take responsibility for either.
No, are you kidding? 3 months later, they've got their own life. They've moved on.
Yeah, this is now your asset and your responsibility.
This is always a great conversation
For
to
a
have.
warranty.
Exactly, for a home warranty. So these are the type of things that when we're working with a buyer or even a seller, we just want to let them know, like, hey, things happen, things break. Let's get a home warranty on this property and make sure that. I mean, I don't love home warranty companies. No offense, home warranty companies.
No, I don't either.
Like, I'm in a dispute right now with one, and I'm not a happy girl about it, but I'll keep that to myself.
They're not perfect. Their
they're not
contractors
perfect.
are not perfect, but they are a solution to handle a problem that can take some of the stress off you.
Right.
And
right.
the financial burden.
Well, I don't know about that. This same problem, I've had them coming over for a dishwasher, and it's $75 each time they come over. They've been over 3 times. I'm like, I'm halfway to buying a dishwasher already.
Well, if you recall them, most home warranties, if you recall them within the first 30 days, they won't charge you that $75 fee again.
Right.
So if it goes past that 30 days.
This is the same reoccurring problem that they keep coming and putting a Band-Aid on it. I wish it was 30 days, but no, it's been
just over time.
Space over the last year
with
this dishwasher. And I'm just like, you know me.
Yeah.
I sell your product to people, like, get it together.
Yeah.
So,
they're not perfect.
No, they're not perfect. But now I have a dispute. They were going to offer me, what'd they offer me? A $300 Lowe's gift card. I disputed that. I was like, are you nuts? I can't even get to a Lowe's and get a dishwasher for less than $350 on sale. And that's like a bottom of the barrel. This is,
That's the old white one that was the base original model.
Yeah. I'm like, that is not going in the kitchen, yo. This has got to be apples for apples, right?
Yeah.
If I have
absolutely.
a Kenmore Elite, I want a Kenmore Elite. If I have a bespoke Samsung, I want a bespoke Samsung. So anyway, that's my dispute right now. But as quirky as they are, you're absolutely right. It is nice when it is something quick and easy to fix. Pay them $75. They come out, they fix it, it's over. And then, let's say it's the water heater. They come out, change the heater core, and boom, you're good. Clean the sediment trap, bum. Moving on.
A lot of times if they have to do a replacement on something like a water heater, you do have to, depending on the type of plan. If you have one of those premier plans, then it's probably going to cover all the expenses and the code upgrades and everything like that. But if you have a very basic plan, you're going to have some out-of-pocket expense. Like, for instance, I had to have my water heater replaced by a home warranty company, and my out-of-pocket expense was $400. I have a basic plan. I just, I renew it every year, and I don't see the reason for the upgrades. But so it was $400 out-of-pocket. But to buy a new water heater, get it installed, and we have to have permits on gas water heaters here in the valley.
Indeed.
So it would have been $2,800.
Yeah, no, there's
do,
definitely, as much as they are not perfect, they are definitely worth it. And if you don't have, or you're not used to having a home and having reserves, let's say you're a first-time home buyer or something like that, then those repairs are going to be costly for you. Definitely keep that home warranty on as long. I mean, like you, I renew it every year.
Yeah.
Even though it bugs me, some years I don't use it, but it's there and I have it.
And for me, it's not, I'm really busy. And when something breaks, I don't want to have to think about it, deal with it, get people to come do quotes or whatever. So it's like, I call them, they worry about it, and they get the appointment and get it handled.
If you've been in the valley, you know how hard it is to get any kind of contractor to come to the house. At least if you have a home warranty, you have a one-stop reference. Like, I need my AC serviced. I
One
need my
phone number.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here you go. Take care of this. And that you can get plans that cover pools and everything else that you're getting in this house. So, I don't love a home warranty, but for the integrity of your home, it's not a bad choice.
All right. Yes, I agree. So it looks like we're only going to have time for one more question. These things get lengthy, right?
I like Kenny's then.
Kenny's is great.
Yeah.
I've gotten similar questions like Kenny's a couple times over the years.
I have a client right now who is a Kenny. When I read the question, I was like, oh, that's my client. But he's not named Kenny. But I want to trade in my house for another house that's the same price as mine. How do I do this, Trish?
So Kenny, I think this mindset comes from like cars, right?
Right.
Because you know, you have a car and you're like, I want to trade in another car for the same payment. And sometimes people are like, yeah, that works, you know, or whatever.
Right.
There's a whole thing there.
Depreciating asset versus an appreciating asset.
Right. So it does not work really the same in houses when it comes to that. You could have, I mean, you have an interest rate on your house if you are, let's say, trading, and I don't even like the term trading houses because
Right.
it doesn't really work that way. But like, say you're selling your house and you're getting another house. Well, now you're getting a new mortgage with the rates that they are today.
Right, which change everything.
Which changes everything. And just because your house is like, okay, my house right now is $500,000. I want to buy this other house in this other area that's also $500,000. It's not really apples for apples because
Nope.
you're going to have escrow fees.
Because
you're going to start a new mortgage.
But you didn't pay $500,000 for the house you're in now. It is appreciated to $500,000.
Yes.
You may have paid $380,000.
Right.
So your payment is at that $380,000 price point. You're not going to move into a $5,000 or $500,000 house and have a $380,000 price point for your mortgage payment. I mean,
Right.
that's just not the way it happens. And interest rate is also a factor because if you're in a 3% interest rate right now, it is definitely not going to be lower if you're getting into a 6% interest rate.
Right. So
In that case, you have to sort of downgrade, go from like a house to a townhome or something.
Or expect most people when they sell their house and they want to like a move up home or something like that, they expect that and anticipate it. And you can use some of your equity towards the down payment.
Totally. That's what everybody does.
There's some numbers there and there may be a scenario where it works, but we don't know that off the question. So I think my best advice for Kenny would be schedule a consultation with a realtor.
Definitely.
And talk to them or us.
You can call us.
You can call us.
You can email us. You
yes.
can send a messenger pigeon. We're here to answer questions for you.
Yeah, so schedule a consultation with a realtor. Go over those numbers. Go over a net sheet. Go over what the entire picture looks like and see if that's an option that works for you. Because it may be an option. You may have enough equity in your home to be able to make the transition happen.
Right.
But by all means, it's not a trade-in.
No, it's not. It's not a trade-in.
Yeah.
The client that has a very similar mindset as our question asker Kenny here, basically wanted the same exact house he had: 2,000 square feet, 2-story, 2-car garage, 8,000 square foot yacht lot, just right down the line. And but he didn't want to take on the payment. He wanted the payment to be the same as what he has now. So I went through every builder. I did everything I could. And the closest I could come would be a 1,700 square foot townhome for him. But it had the 2-car garage. It didn't have the lot, but the payment was going to be the same. He's only losing a minimal amount of square footage. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was a good solution for him. He wanted to pull all the equity out of his house and pay off all of his debt.
Oh, instead of putting it all into.
Right. Yeah, instead of moving it over. Because most people move out the equity from one home and put it directly in the other. That brings the loan amount down, the payment down, all of that stuff. Yeah. But
well, I understand where this concept comes from, back to the car dealerships, because I know someone that has, they had a few years older vehicle, mm-hmm. and they went to the dealership and said, I want to trade this in for the new model but keep the same payment. And dealership's like, yeah, we can make that work. And who knows how they work those numbers? I don't know, but they made it work. He got the newer car, same payment. I'm sure the loan balance was a lot steeper.
Instead
it got rolled into
loan,
something.
It's a 7-year loan.
Yeah, so it got rolled into something. So I understand where that principle comes from if you're familiar with car dealerships or you do a lot of that like auto trading, type of things. But in housing, it works a little bit different.
A little bit different indeed.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you do have any of those questions and you did really want them answered, if it's something that you do have a concern for, you can always email those to vegasrealtycheck@gmail.com, or you can just pick up the phone and reach out to us. Trish, if they want to talk to you, how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me or text me, 702-308-2878. And Tiana, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, cell phone is always good for me. You can reach out at 702-379-9948. and we can just have a conversation, see where you're at and what you're looking to do, and that all works. If you did find value from this content or like watching the quirkiness of the show, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so that way you don't miss out. We are here every Thursday.
We're here every Thursday, 9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m. in Vegas.
Yes, and Vegas time. So tune into the show. You can download us on anywhere that streams audio.
Yeah. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can also listen to us.
Yep, and we're live on YouTube and Facebook, and check us out.
All the stuff. We got all the stuff. Wherever you want to find us, you can find us.
We're out there. Vegas RealtyCheck. Website for the audio downloads is realtycheck.vegas.
All right.
All right.
So now you know how to get a hold of us. Go find us, Vegas.
All right. Thank you. See you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.